When I was 16, I thought I had life figured out. School was annoying, home was worse, and I was convinced no one really got me. Especially my mom. Then came Mrs. Harper, my mom's best friend since college. She was loud, confident, and the type who always had a story to tell. Whenever she visited, she filled the room with laughter and perfume that smelled like old roses and fresh coffee. That summer, she moved back to our town after her husband passed away. Mom decided I'd help her around the house. I rolled my eyes. The last thing I wanted was to spend my vacation doing chores for an old lady. But when Mom said, "It'll be good for you," I didn't argue, mostly because I didn't have a choice. The first day, I stood at Mrs. Harper's front door, earbuds in, hoodie up, pretending not to care. She opened the door with her usual sparkle and said, "Ah, the reluctant hero arrives." I gave a half smile. "Hey, Mrs. Harper." She studied me for a second, then leaned in closer and whispered with a grin. "Let's see what you can handle." I thought she meant chores. Turns out, she meant life lessons. She started me off easy, sweeping leaves, fixing shelves, painting the porch. But in between, she'd talk. Really talk. About her husband, who she called the world's kindest man. About losing him, and how grief felt like learning to walk again, one trembling step at a time. Sometimes she'd go quiet mid-sentence, eyes distant. I didn't know what to say, so I just kept working. But one afternoon, she looked at me and said softly, "You don't have to say anything. Just being here helps." That hit me harder than I expected. A week later, we were cleaning her old garage when I found a dusty piano covered with a tarp. "You play?" I asked. Her eyes softened. "Not anymore. My hands, they don't listen to me like they used to." I sat at the piano, pressed a few keys, and before long, I was playing a simple melody I'd learned years ago. She closed her eyes and hummed along, off-key but full of feeling. That moment, it felt like time slowed down. Two people, one healing, one learning, finding connection in sound. Over the next few weeks, she gave me little challenges. "Let's see what you can handle," she'd say every morning. Some days it was fixing a leaky faucet. Other days, it was helping her write letters to old friends. Once, she even asked me to read her late husband's favorite poem aloud, because her eyesight wasn't what it used to be. Each task seemed small, but together, they changed something in me. I started noticing things, like how she never complained about her loneliness, how she always offered me lemonade before asking for help, and how she remembered everyone's name in the neighborhood. It made me realize, kindness doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it whispers in small, steady acts of care. One rainy afternoon, I came by to find her sitting quietly by the window. She looked tired, smaller somehow. "You okay, Mrs. Harper?" I asked. She smiled, faintly. "Just thinking how lucky I am. You remind me of my husband, he never ran from responsibility either." I laughed. "You clearly didn't know me a month ago." She chuckled, then reached for my hand. "Oh, I do. You just needed someone to believe you could handle more than you thought." Her words stayed with me. When summer ended, I went off to college. I promised to visit her often, and I did, until one day, Mom told me Mrs. Harper had passed peacefully in her sleep. At her memorial, the pastor handed me a letter she'd left behind. Inside, in her familiar looping handwriting, were just a few words. "You handled life better than you think. Keep doing that, for others who can't." Years later, I still hear her voice when I face something tough. "Let's see what you can handle." But now, it doesn't sound like a challenge. It sounds like faith. Faith in the quiet strength we all carry, the kind that grows when someone sees the best in us before we see it ourselves. And that's what Mrs. Harper gave me. Not lessons about chores, but about courage, compassion, and showing up for people, even when it's inconvenient. Because sometimes, the greatest kindness isn't in what we do for others. It's in helping them see what they're truly capable of.